Yeah, man, it's the 25th of March, 2023, and I want to do an update on the situation that I'm dealing with, and it's the weekend, and I want to talk about um, kind of how to profile a gang stalker. Like, what is it that these guys are up to, and what do they got going on? So, to start out, they're attacking me with broadcasts. I keep feeling broadcasts all in my neck, all up in here, and they like to get into my jawline and I can feel broadcast penetrating my neck, into my neck, my actual neck, up into like lymph nodes and like into my jaw and down my jawline. And I believe that it is an intentional attack for a specific type of damage. So over the years, they've been attacking, broadcasting in my mouth every single day for probably 6 years now. 6 years they've been broadcasting into my mouth. And it causes your gums to deteriorate and it starts to cause health problems. And basically, at some point in the future, I'll probably have to have false teeth implanted into my jaws, and they put the implants into the bone structure, and then they mount the false teeth on to the implants, and that's how that works. And I would be willing to bet I'm going to have that at some point, and I would be willing to bet that it is 100% or a very high percentage because of broadcast torture attacks, which is why they consistently do this every day. They do it every day. And to start, about maybe a year ago, probably a year ago, I went to a consultation because I knew that in the future at some point I would have to do that. And so I went to a consultation to orthodontic surgeon. I forget exactly, but they do a lot of X-rays and stuff like that, um, and they say, yeah, you could do it, but the thing is that they want to check when they're doing that. What they're looking for is to see if your bone structure is deteriorated so much that you wouldn't even be able to get implants. For some people, implants are not an option. And ever since then, ever since I went to that consultation, is when they've been all in my jawline with the broadcast. And so obviously they have an agenda: torture, mutilation, and which ultimately boils down to attempted murder, conspiracy to murder. Because they have an intention. They have an intent to cause specific types of harm. And it's very concerning because I always feel them when they broadcast, like when it penetrates my heart. And I know that things like that can weaken you over time. And maybe in 20 years, when something happens, if it were to take that long, then they say, oh, well, it looks like your aorta is weakened somehow, maybe this or that or whatever. But in reality, if you have a gang stalker that's attacking you every day in certain ways, they have this goal to cause certain types of damage long term and make it to where it's not traceable to them. But ultimately, we have to defend our lives. And if that comes to war or any other means necessary to defend our lives, it may. It may have to come to war to defend our lives against people that are using broadcast to attack and torture us. It may have to, because the government isn't helping us and nobody's helping us and they're killing us. And it's not just me or, 20 or 30 or 100, couple hundred. No, many, many thousands of people are talking about this now. Many, many thousands of people are talking about this now. And when you have many thousands of people being attacked in a way that can kill you, what is that called? That's called genocide. That's called genocide. And what does genocide always lead to? War. People going to war to defend their life. There's no other option here. It's what it comes to. It comes if there's not some government, which if the government were to try to stop them, who knows? That could come to a war too. Or they just turn everybody off, and you still end up with a bunch of civil unrest because a lot of people know about neural monitoring. Millions of people have neural monitoring. And these idiots that call themselves gang stalkers, that use neural monitoring broadcasts, they get on mind control and pilot these hologram broadcasts to penetrate and physically torture humans in their bodies. They're not the majority. I wouldn't think that they're the majority out of all the people that have neural monitoring. So if you try to turn everybody off, then you've got this big problem where millions of people are saying, whoa, 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 whoa. And if I don't have it, who does have it? The government? I don't trust them. I don't. Who has it? Do you trust them? Do you trust somebody else to have your neural monitoring? Look what's happened so far. Gang stalkers use it to torture and commit genocide. That's what happened so far. How many people are dead over this broadcast torture situation? All right, moving on. Hopefully we could bottom line, hopefully we can find a peaceful civil way to solve this type of problem. But right now, you have to think that it is possible that there will be civil war and war in the future in general over people using broadcast to attack other people that don't have access to broadcast. I foresee in the future people that are targeted with broadcast, seeking out these people that are on mind control, hiding away in their homes to broadcast and torture them. I foresee people seeking them out and physically stopping them by any means, which will ultimately certainly lead to war. I'm just telling it like it is. And what else? What are the other options? I'm open to hear it. Hopefully we can all learn enough about computer programming and light spectrums and broadcast capabilities to figure out how to get our own neural monitoring, which is the only real solution. It exists. So everybody has to have their own and be able to control their own because we know it exists. Everybody's starting to know that it exists. So you have to control your own. And that's where ultimately in 100 years where it'll have to be at. But getting there, who knows what's going to happen getting there. So it's a wild scenario when you got typical regular old morons in the street that get a hold of neural monitoring and decide that since their life is so pathetic, they want to attack and torture and harm people with it. So, maybe we can figure out a peaceful solution. But I wouldn't doubt it, or I wouldn't be surprised if it came to war on many fronts. So, and I'm just talking about how I see the whole scenario playing out with millions of people that have neural monitoring and so many millions that don't. It's a big problem, and nobody's trying to talk about it. Meanwhile, genocide is what's happening. So, moving on, who are these gang stalkers and what? Well, we can say a few things about them. I have a lot of people that come on with my normal gang stalkers on the weekends. Okay, so these are people that have neural monitoring that during the week in normal life they pretend like they're normal people and they go to have a job and they probably don't have a choice. Everybody can't be like my full-time guys. They probably all live in a house together or with family or something like that because they do not have jobs. There's no way that you could be on somebody's neural monitoring, sitting there on mind control, doing broadcast stuff all day, every day of your life and still have a job. There's no way that would be possible unless they want to call it their job to do that, which there's nobody that's paying them to do that. You'll hear that all over the place. Yeah, they put me in this program and they pay these people to torture me and follow me around with a helicopter and drive past in 3 white cars and they give them gift cards. It's ridiculous. I want to make fun of you people that are saying that. And I'm for real I know about targeting. I've been talking about this for years and years, and they attack me and do all kinds of stuff. And I've had all kinds of street theater too. But some of this stuff, you guys, man, is ridiculous. And that's not how it works. And more realistically, if they're making money off of it, it's because they've figured out a way to make money off of it. right? Just like if Mr. Beast and Joe Rogan, they're making money off of YouTube, right? But nobody paid them to go and do that. They started to create this content, and then it started to get popular or whatever. People watch the content, and they're able to monetize that position. And it's the same thing that these gang stalkers are doing. If they're doing live streams of your life, that's why, like certain people, you're going to have a bunch of gang stalkers that just won't go away. They won't go away. They're on your neural. You could hear them talking to you all day, every day. Same people. They'll have different ones, like I said, on with them in the weekends. The weekend warriors, you might call them, something like that. But then you got the full-time people, and this is all they do. They sit on mind control all day, every day, and they're always worried about their live stream. They're always talking about their live stream. They're always into your phones. The last videos I did a couple days ago was, I was having problems accessing an application where I use for a couple of things. Personal, for one, which is not the main reason, but this application is Outlook. And I also use it for my work email and for my school email. And I have a personal email that I use it for as well. So 3 different emails. And the application wouldn't work. And every time they're using the application, because they'll go in and modify an application and move things around and create like a virtual machine and allocate some of your storage space on your device for themselves, and so it wouldn't work, and so I go to I'm going to do an update, right? Because I know how this works. I know what they're doing, and they'll have you know what? I'll explain a few things, okay? If you have an iPhone, you can get a program on Mac on the desktop called Apple Configurator 2, okay, part 2. And you can do a backup of your iPhone with that, all right? Now, if you do a backup of your iPhone, any application that hasn't been updated, that an update is available, then you will get somewhere in that backup, somewhere in your file system, and I forget where, but it creates a file of a temporary file of those I think they're called IPA files. It's like whatever Apple's files are, like on Android, it's APK. Whatever Apple's files are that are an application package, okay? And so it'll download those unupdated application files, and you can have them in a temporary file system on your Mac when you do that backup from Configurator 2. And then you go in and find those temporary files and you move them to a permanent folder, and then you have the modified application from a gang stalker using your applications for their own purposes to run EMF broadcast live streams and configured the way that they want it, and who knows what else they'll have in it. And a lot of times you'll find that an application that might be 200 megabytes is like 2 or 3 gigs because they've got a bunch of data on within the application, because basically they're configuring an application to run like a device. So it's like a whole nother device. They call it their app, but it's like a virtual machine. Sometimes they will actually use a actual virtual machine, but all of this is they're doing on your device. Okay, so once you update the application, then it doesn't save a copy of the application itself with that configurator app. So I like to try to do a backup before I update all my apps, or sometimes when I even care, because I got so many excuse me, I got so many files and stuff like that where they do stupid things, and I'm already caked up with the real evidence against them. I just have to learn how to get in there and what to do with it, and how to keep them from destroying it when I go into it. But anyway, I went to the Outlook app to open my email. It just wouldn't work. It was taking me to a white screen, and it does that only when they're using it. So I finally went to the app store, and I was just going to update it, wipe off whatever they're doing and make them start over, which they will. They'll fix it in 5 minutes, but at least I can use it when I need to, which is stupid. I got to fight with gang stalkers that are somewhere else to use my own stuff, literally. And I pay for the service. It's my device. They're my accounts. It's account fraud. It's it's theft of services, it's hacking in every single way, and it's conspiracy. And it really boils down to gang stalking and broadcast torture, genocide, slavery, attempted murder, the need to defend our lives by any means necessary is what it boils down to. But I went to the App Store to do the update, and it said I didn't have the app. But I'm sitting there, I know I got the app. I use it every day. It's for my email, my work email, my school email. I use it every day. So I'm sitting there, and I know I have the app. I'm trying to open the app. I can look and see that the screen of the app is open. It's just not opening the app, right? And it's saying I don't even have the app. Right? They had moved it or something. They were doing something with it. I believe that they take things and like they move it to the virtual machines side of the physical device where they have a completely separate operating system and allocated space for themselves to run on. And they give themselves administrative authority over you. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, so I click download, right? And what does it end up with? The not possible. It ends up with the not possible. That's what it ends up with. That's what it ends up with, the not possible, right? Because you can't have two of the same application on an iPhone unless something really strange is happening. And, talk about jailbreaking and like people not being able to hack Apple stuff. And no, it's no more secure than honestly, I have to use Apple stuff because when I use Android stuff, they mess it up so bad that it won't even work right. It's hard to even make the thing work right when I'm using an Android because they do so much to it, and I literally can't make it work enough to be functional to handle the things that I do. So I that's why I use iPhone. I did see something about I forget the name of it, but you can look into it. There's a lot of different ones, but Linux. There's phones that are starting to operate off Linux, and there's actually they've been around, but and that's one of the big things of gang stalkers are into. Like they're using Linux and stuff like that, but don't get it wrong. They are not master hackers. Maybe they learn a little bit over time, but they get neural monitoring and they get in with these groups and they're able to just run a program that gives them an interface to just take control of everything. But they're not smart enough that they go do all of that on their own. No, they are not. Like I said, these are idiots that sit around on mind control for not days, not weeks, not months, not even years. You're talking about decades. Decades, these idiots have been sitting around getting obese as hell in their living room with 10 other trashy people in stinking little shithole places while they're all on mind control, addicted to mind control, connecting to other people, and they just become gang stalkers. And their virtual life, which is not actually virtual because these broadcasts exist and they're physically attacking humans with it, that takes it's not some virtual world inside of a Oculus. It's nothing like that. They put on a mind control and they see real life places and things and people, in their mind, like they were looking at it with their eyes because they can receive that on mind control. And that's what they're addicted to because their life is pathetic. Their life is pathetic. But I ended up just saying, it's time. I've been using this phone for so long. I'm gonna get another one. I still use this one, but I retired the Android, and now I'm just gonna have to operate off iPhones only. But I got a new one, and these idiots just talk just how they talk, right? They're like, oh yeah, I like the new setup. I'm glad you got this new phone, right? And it's very likely to be true. And even right now, I can feel broadcast starting to kind of cake into my eye, like right here, just all over my face. That's how disrespectful and trashy they are, right? Not a one of them would ever face me in real life. Not one of them. Not one of these gang stalkers. They're the type of people that hide away and talk trash and do things from a remote, safe place, but not one of them would ever do anything like it in real life. And if they did to anybody, they would automatically be killed or beaten down because you can't go around attacking people, right? And expect that they're not going to defend themselves. But the fact that they can sit in their living rooms and physically attack people and have access to your phones and your accounts and everything else, all the different things that they've done to my phones and my accounts and everything over the years, I ain't got rid of none of it. I'm still going to bring it all back. It's all coming back at some point. That's the bottom line. It's all coming back at some point. So anyway, it's the weekend. It's Saturday night. These idiots, they got a few other guys on with them tonight. The four main guys that are always here. Now they got a few other guys on with them tonight. And it's funny because I can hear this guy that's not a usual guy. Okay, he's a now and then guy, and he's doing the same stupid little Black James wannabe voice settings and stuff like that the other ones do, right? And I'd be willing to bet he don't even know Black James, and he's just third party trying to be like Black James, trying to be like Black James as a third party, trying to be like these idiots who are trying to be like Black James, right? And Black James is one of the he was the first one to be the full-time guy on my neural monitoring. Him and a couple other people are said to be the leaders of this, like the larger organization. Whether they really have leaders, but these people are definitely having some involvement, including Black James, Tony Bruce, Robert Lackey, and they're all associated with this girl that buys and collects neural monitorings. But that's all coming out in the future. That's all going to come out in courtrooms eventually. Eventually, it's going to have to. You're talking about conspiracies and attempted murders and hacking into people's stuff for decades, and they can't sweep it all up. There ain't no way they'll ever clean it all up. There's no way they'll ever clean it all up. And even if they killed me and got rid of me, they would have 100 other people. There's no way they can clean it all up. And they're not that smart of people. They're really not. The whole bunch of them are a bunch of idiots. And just because they have neural monitoring, and they're able to get away with it because the government wants to look the other way. They want to look the other way because they don't need civil unrest. You go tell everybody that your thoughts aren't safe and everybody's on neural monitoring. And no, you can't have it. We're not going to tell you about it. We're just going to keep neural monitoring on you, and we know everything you're thinking, and we can watch you have sexual relations with your wife or your husband in private, and we can watch you in the shower, which is the truth. They can, and they do. That's all for now, y'all. These idiots attacking me again tonight, and I feel like I needed to come on and do a public YouTube video talking about all of this. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll be back soon.